You think you're winning with credit card points, but the math tells a different story. Every swipe feels like a little reward, but that feeling is exactly what they designed. Credit card companies are not giving you rewards because they genuinely like you. They don't. There is a specific psychological trick buried inside every points program, and it is working. My name is Ryan, and I spend way too much time thinking about credit cards. Maybe you are someone who chases rewards but wonders why they never really add up. Subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if anything I say today helps you. Here is what I want you to understand before we go any further right now. The average American household loses over $2,400 chasing credit card rewards, and most of them have absolutely no idea that this is even happening to them. Now, you might be thinking, but I pay my balance in full every single month. That is exactly what they want you to believe, and that is the entire trap. Here is the thing. The points trap is not about interest rates or late fees. It operates on a completely hidden layer that most financial advice never even addresses properly. There are 3 specific reasons this trap works, and the first one will surprise you. But first, I need to show you the actual math sitting behind all of this. Let us say you spend $2,000 per month on your rewards credit card. That is $24,000 in annual spending, which sounds like a lot of points. At a typical 1% back rate, you are earning about $240. Here is where most people stop doing the math, and that is a big mistake. That annual fee on your premium card is probably running between $95 and $500. Subtract the fee and your actual reward could drop to almost nothing or go negative. But we have not even touched the part that actually costs you the very most. This is where it gets really interesting. And honestly, a little bit uncomfortable as well. Studies on spending behavior show that rewards card users spend on average 10% more per month than people who pay with cash or debit. 10% on a $2,000 monthly budget is $200 extra a month. That is $2,400 a year. And you are doing this unconsciously, not because you are reckless, but because the card is designed to make you feel like you are winning. Now let us do the math together. $2,400 in extra spending minus the $240 you earned back in points total. Before you even factor in the annual fee, you are already sitting over $2,000 in the hole purely from that extra spending behavior. That over $2,000 shortfall does not come from interest charges or late payment fees. It comes entirely from how the card was designed. Look, I am not here to say credit card companies are evil. I am saying they are very good at building systems that benefit them. There is a concept called mental accounting, and it is one of the most studied behavioral economics phenomena in modern research on consumer spending habits. Mental accounting is your brain treating different pools of money as if they have different values, even when mathematically they are exactly the same number. When you swipe a rewards card, your brain files the purchase under investment, not loss, and that one mental shift changes how much you spend. This is not a character flaw. It was deliberately engineered into the product by teams of behavioral psychologists who knew exactly what they were doing. Here is what most people do not realize. The points program is not a marketing perk. It is how this business model makes its money. The bank owns your points, not you. And the bank sets all the rules about what those points are actually worth at any given time. In recent years, multiple major banks devalued their reward points programs by cutting how much you could get per point on flights and hotel stays. You saved those points for 2 years, believed you had a free vacation locked in, and then one night, the value quietly and permanently dropped. That is not a bug in the system. That is the entire system working exactly as designed, and it is designed to work for them. Now you might be thinking, Ryan, I redeem my points all the time, and I always feel like I'm getting a genuinely great deal. Good. Redeeming your points is always better than letting them expire, which research shows happens with roughly 30% of all reward points ever issued. But here is the deeper problem. Even the people who redeem points regularly are often getting far less value per point than they actually think. Chase Sapphire Reserve points are worth roughly 1.5 cents each, but booking directly can sometimes cost 30% less in real dollars. So you are burning points, a currency you earned, to pay a higher price for the exact thing that cash would have bought for less. There is also an emotional trap hiding in this. one that is even harder to spot because it feels completely rational while you do it. When you redeem points, your brain does not register it as spending. It registers the purchase as using something that was already yours, essentially free. But it was never free. You paid for it through the extra spending, the annual fees, and the better alternatives you never even considered using. The real question is not how to maximize your points. It is what your finances would actually look like if you had never chased them. I ran that exact math for a specific type of spender, and what came back genuinely surprised me. And I believe it will surprise you. I looked at someone spending $2,000 a month on a rewards card for 3 full years of consistent, completely uninterrupted spending behavior patterns. Over those 3 years, the extra 10% spending behavior added up to $7,200 more than they would have otherwise spent. In that same 3-year period, they earned roughly $720 in total points, based on a standard 1% cash back rate. The net result was a total loss of over $6,400, and that person thought they were the smart one with money. That is the credit card points trap in its clearest form. Not a scam, but a slow and invisible drain on your entire financial life. Now let us talk about the people who have genuinely figured out how to use points correctly, because they do exist, and they are rare. These people are not regular consumers. They are running what is called a travel hacking strategy, and it requires treating points like a second job. They track bonus categories, manage multiple cards, and optimize every single redemption. Most people are not doing this, and that is exactly the problem here. If you are watching this video right now, you are probably not the person who treats points like a full-time optimization project every single week. And that is perfectly fine, but it means the point system was not actually designed to serve someone in your position in the first place. The product was built for the bank first, the merchant second, and the average cardholder lands somewhere much further down that priority list every time. Merchants pay an interchange fee every time you swipe a rewards card, and that fee is higher for premium cards than for basic debit cards. That extra fee gets baked into the price of everything you buy. So people without rewards cards are quietly subsidizing your airline miles right now. This is what economists call a wealth transfer, and it consistently moves money from lower-income households toward the wealthier individuals who actually hold premium cards. I want to be clear. I am not saying you are a bad person for using a rewards card, because I have used them too. What I am saying is that understanding the system clearly is the only way to actually use it on your own terms without losing money. Here are the 3 rules that consistently separate people who win with credit cards from the much larger group who quietly lose every single year. Rule 1. Never spend $1 you would not have spent if the rewards card did not exist. That is the entire foundation of winning. This sounds simple, but in practice, it means saying no to the category bonus, no to the limited time offer, and no to the tempting upgrade. Rule 2. Know the real value of your points before you redeem them, and compare that value directly to whatever the cash price actually is. If redeeming points gives you less value than cash would, just pay cash, because keeping high-value points costs you nothing but a few extra seconds. Rule 3. If your annual fee is not fully covered by real, measurable benefits you actually use, cancel the card before the renewal date hits. Most people keep cards they should cancel because canceling feels like losing something, but holding a card that costs you money is never a win. I want to address the most common objection I hear, that a good rewards card is basically free money if you use it with discipline. And look, I hear you. In theory, yes, a perfectly used rewards card on fixed spending with no fee should produce a small net positive. Research on actual consumer behavior, not theoretical behavior, consistently shows that most people do not use rewards cards in the way that the theory requires. An MIT study showed that people pay measurably more when using a credit card compared to paying with physical cash for the exact same item. In one experiment specifically around auction bidding, credit card users bid on average twice as much as cash users for identical items up for sale. Not 10% more, not 20, double, simply because swiping a card does not trigger the same painful emotional response as physically handing over cash. Researchers call this the pain of paying, and it turns out that pain is one of the most important financial guardrails your brain actually has. Swiping a rewards card numbs that guardrail by replacing the sensation of loss with the sensation of earning, and that shift costs you real money. Understanding this deeply is how you start to use the tool without letting the tool use you back. And that distinction is genuinely worth money. What does a good credit card setup actually look like for someone who just wants to keep things simple and still come out financially ahead? For most people, a no-fee cash back card used exclusively for fixed monthly expenses like groceries and utilities is the cleanest and lowest risk approach available. You earn 1 to 2% on spending you are already doing. You carry no annual fee, and there is no psychological bait involved whatsoever. It is not glamorous. You are not flying business class to Tokyo, but you are also not quietly losing thousands of dollars every single year. Here is the real question you need to sit with, and it is not about which card to get or which points to chase next. What would your finances look like if you redirected that extra $2,400 each year directly into a low-cost index fund instead? At a 7% average annual return, $2,400 invested every year becomes roughly $120,000 over 20 years. $120,000, not from earning more, not from a complex strategy, just from stopping the one invisible drain that already quietly exists. That number is not meant to scare you. It is meant to show you what becomes possible when you finally start seeing this system clearly. I think most people sense on some level that something feels off about the point system. They just have never seen the real numbers clearly. Once you see them, you cannot unsee them. And that is the most powerful financial shift you can make without changing your income at all. This is not about punishment or deprivation. It is about being aware enough to make a genuine choice, not one that was engineered for you. The people who win financially long-term are not the highest earners. They are simply the ones who stop falling for beautifully designed financial systems. You have already done the hardest part today. You sat with information that most people actively avoid because it requires rethinking something that feels comfortable. That willingness to question what feels normal is the exact thing that separates people who quietly build wealth from those who never quite get there. My challenge for you this week is simple. Look at your last 3 months of statements and honestly add up every fee and unnecessary purchase. Whatever number you find, ask yourself this. What would my life actually look like if I redirected that amount into building real wealth every year? The points were never the reward. Your financial freedom is. Start treating it that way and go give this video a thumbs up right now.